Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Today's video is mommy focused, so red alert, it is mommy focused. Mommy mayhem is in full effect. I am currently almost 18 weeks pregnant, so we are in the second trimester. So I thought today I would kind of focus on how I survived the first trimester. It was a very rough first trimester, let me just say that. My first pregnancy, I was sick, but I think I was just naive to the process, so I didn't know that it could get worse before it got better, and I really didn't have such a long sickness. I kind of feel like one day it just went away, whereas with this, with having a toddler in my home, you are expected to have a little bit more energy, and you just don't. So with that, I was lucky enough that my husband was around more, so he was able to take care of Stella a lot in those early days, and I was probably sick from week 6 to week 13 with debilitating nausea, and I couldn't stand certain smells. I couldn't stand the smell of my kitchen. I couldn't stand the smell of air. I couldn't stand the smell of anything. So basically I was quarantined, and I was in the bathtub just moaning. I was in bed just moaning, eating a lot of soup, and you know, it does end, so fear not, it does go away. Probably after 12, 13 weeks, you should start to feel better. Now, I by no means had it as bad as some women. There is a condition called, I believe it's called Hyperemesis Gravidarum. I think Princess Kate had it. Basically, you're so sick that you end up in the hospital. You're on IV fluids. You can't keep anything down. I was nowhere near that. I felt bad, but I wasn't ingesting something and then it came right back up. But basically in the first trimester, your body is essentially putting together the building blocks for the little house that your baby's going to live in for the next 6 months after that. So there's a method to the madness. However, I do have some small things that I think might have helped the process a little bit better. For starters, I this time around found that I could not do the full prenatal vitamin. Last pregnancy, I was able to do a DHA full prenatal vitamin. This time around, my stomach was far too weak for that. If you talk to your doctor, a lot of times they'll tell you that you can do Flintstone vitamins, oddly, in the beginning so that you can get your nutrients and your folic acid, but the iron sometimes in the full prenatals can be too much on your stomach. So I ended up taking these bad boys right here, the Flintstones with iron. These were multivitamins, but they're chewables and they're a lot easier on the stomach. So I took 2 of these every night, and even into my second trimester, I am enjoying them. I'm just afraid to go full force into my prenatals. I feel like they'll mess up my stomach, and I just don't want to feel sick. Also, taking your vitamins at night before you go to bed will help ease the nausea versus taking them in the morning when you're already feeling really, really sick. The next thing is tons and tons and tons and tons of water. Like all day long, just drink water. That's all I could really do was drink water. I had no appetite for anything else except for ice cold water with lemon. It had to be really, really ice cold, like brain freeze cold. So that got me through. The next couple of things are just kind of mindsets. I knew it was going to end, so I kind of just watched a lot of TV and read a lot about what was happening to my body. That way I could kind of focus on the positive. It is my second pregnancy, but you do forget a lot of it. It's called pregnancy amnesia for a reason, and it's because when you are feeling that bad, you're like, I can't believe I did this again. I can't believe I'm doing this again. Like, if I would have remembered how bad it felt, I probably wouldn't have gotten, I'm sure most women are thinking the same thing. If I would have remembered how bad it felt, I probably wouldn't have gotten pregnant again. But the universe made it so that the second your baby's born, you forget about all of this, and you're happy to do it again, and then you're miserable. So I just really read a lot and prepared myself. I had a lot of time on my hands. A oldie but a goodie from last pregnancy to this pregnancy is, as my stomach has grown from first trimester into second trimester, I'm back using my Clarins Huile Tonic Pure Plant Extracts Firming and Toning Oil. It looks like this. I got this, if you guys remember my pregnancy videos from eons ago, I talked about this oil from Clarins. It's amazing, and I just recently started feeling itchy. And if you start to feel itchy on your belly, you're probably reaching a point where your belly's starting to stretch a little bit, and same with like your boobies. So my belly button was itching, and like underneath it was itching, and my boobies were itching. So I pulled this out, and I've been slathering it on twice a day. It's about $50. You can get it at Sephora. If you have VIB Rouge, it's 15% off right now, so keep that in mind. And I slathered on, and it's amazing. It's just the itching went away, and I feel like my skin has gotten restored moisture, so good stuff. As far as reading materials go, the tried and true book that most women read, I read this my first pregnancy. I'm finding that the second time around, I'm not new to pregnancy, so I kind of wanted a fresher perspective on pregnancy, kind of like, you know, the Girlfriend's Guide to Pregnancy this time around. But the first pregnancy I had, and it really did help me my first pregnancy, was What to Expect When You're Expecting. So it is a little dry, and some of the concepts are a little antiquated for what's happening in the modern day with women and our bodies and food choices and, you know, home birthing and whatnot. But it did give you the basic synopsis of what is happening in your body month by month, week by week. It retails for $14.95. It's been revised a lot of times. There is an app that goes with it, What to Expect, on if you have the App Store. So I sometimes refer to that if I want to know what's going on. I forget which week I'm on or whatever. This next book I did pick up, and it is the hip guide to pregnancy. It's kind of like the Fabulous Mama Guide to Pregnancy. However, I don't really connect with a lot of the concepts in the book, but it is one of those books where you can pick and choose, you know, things you want to read. You don't have to read it all the way through. And it's called Mama Glow, A Hip Guide to Your Fabulous Abundant Pregnancy. So it's by Latham Thomas, and she's basically talking about, it's more of a holistic, all-natural approach, which is, you know, I kind of missed like the first 12 pages at the bookstore. So I got it home and I was like, we don't really have that much in common, me and this chick. But the material is important as far as I'm really into like the spiritual approach to pregnancy and listening to your body. And she really kind of delves into that. Now, she is a vegetarian, so I'm so not. So some of the recipes and some of the school of thought she comes from is different from my school of thought, but I do like to read it for the birthing aspect and the power that the pregnant mommy has in her pregnancy and what she kind of preaches about that. So I am going to keep it and kind of refer back to it, but it is a little crunchy for me. But I think it was the hip part that got me going. I was like, I'm hip. This next book is, I'm so into it, and I haven't even had my baby yet, but if you plan to breastfeed, I planned to breastfeed when I had Stella, and then she spent a week in the NICU. I never took that breastfeeding class that I swore I was going to take for $40. It wasn't even that expensive, and I did end up worst case scenario where I struggled to increase my supply. I did have to supplement with formula. We did nurse successfully with supplementing for about 6 or 7 months, and then I stopped, and then I felt guilty for stopping, so I relactated. It's probably one of my biggest regrets is that I wasn't able to fully nurse for a year because I was home. I wasn't a working mom, like I was home. So I'm getting a jump start on this pregnancy, and it's actually not a bad read. It's the Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. It's been revised, and basically it's a start to finish on the process of breastfeeding and what your body's doing. And for me, I was not educated on it. I wasn't nursed when I was a baby, and it is the hardest thing that you'll do post-birth. And if you don't have a support team around you and you're not prepared for what lies ahead, it's easy to quit because formula is right there. Some things I'm doing differently this time around is I'm not going to have formula ready in my house. It's just not going to be an option. I also don't plan on my baby being in the NICU for 7 days, knock on wood. So some things were avoidable, some things just weren't. But it's a really good read, and you can kind of pick through it for, you know, certain things that you want to pinpoint. But I'm really excited because it's a big one, and I can just kind of take notes and write things in it. So, and that's pretty much how I got through my first trimester and moved into my second trimester with a lot of positivity. You do feel sick. I'm not going to lie. I did feel sick. It was horrible. But there is that day where you wake up and you just feel better. You can't explain it, you don't know why, you just feel better, and you're out and about doing all your normal things. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Follow me on Twitter, I'm the Vonda83, and if you follow me on Instagram, I'm also the Vonda83. And you can also follow my blog, and I'll have more pictures of the products that I talked about today. The Modish Mommy is the name of my blog, so check that out, and I'll have a little bit more about each product. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.